I'm Zaya Sachs. I am a senior in college.
My name is Ashley Lambert. I'm a current senior for the University of Colorado women's team, and I play defense.
My name is Celine Long. I'm a fifth-year student at CU, and I'm a center.
I started playing at 4 years old. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay. I've been playing 15 years, but I started at 4 years old, and then I stopped at 10 years old, and then I re-continued at 14.
I started playing when I was 8.
I have been playing since I was about 5, was the first time I started playing proper hockey, and I've been skating since I was like 2.
So my dad played hockey in high school, and he brought me into it when I was just 4 years old, and I loved it ever since. My dad was my coach, and so he coached me all the way from mites to squirts, and then a little bit of pee-wee.
I originally got into hockey because of my dad, and I grew up playing with him and some of my family on ponds and just kind of messing around and stuff. And I grew up watching hockey, obviously, all the time. It was the biggest sport on our TV when we were growing up. And it was kind of just something, I guess you could say, that I was exposed to so young. I was like, why would I not play hockey? My sister was a figure skater, and my parents always like to tell this story that when we were really, really little, we went and picked out like our first pair of actual ice skates that they bought us instead of rentals. And my sister was all immediately like, I want the white ones. Like, they're so pretty. I want to be a figure skater like Michelle Kwan and all this stuff. And I insisted on hockey skates, and I really, really wanted them. And I was like, I'm going to play hockey and beat up on all the boys and do that kind of thing. So,
well, I grew up in New England, and so that was really popular there as a sport. And my dad's side's French Canadian, so he grew up playing hockey. So he kind of put me and my siblings into it, and then I just kind of stuck with it after that. My dad was my coach, and my uncle was an assistant coach for me, and they also grew up playing hockey together, so they were huge influences for me.
I was really lucky to have a female coach named Brooke Whitney, who's local to the Seattle area, and she played NCAA D1 hockey and was on the women's national team and was insanely amazing at hockey. Like, I aspire to be on her level.
Women's hockey is very different from men's. There is checking involved. It's a lot faster.
Women have to play with so much more finesse and team skill and smarts because some of those like outwardly physical aspects are taken out of the game. Men's hockey, you're obviously able to do those really big open ice hits, and you really, at least the men that I know personally, you learn differently from a younger age what that means and how that goes into the game. And so women are more aggressive, I would say, in terms of their play style and like their team game and how they approach the systems, and some of like those kinds of things tend to be more aggressive. I think the difference that you see in men's and women's hockey when you're young really starts to become clear when you're kind of like 13, 14, and it really starts for different people at different times because it honestly really lines up with when people start to go through like puberty, and the men get a lot bigger, a lot stronger, a lot faster. That's the age that I really started to transition over. I played with boys my entire life, and at 14 was the first time that I played full women's hockey, because you get to this point where if you want to play at a certain level as a woman, it's not even necessarily safe for you to do so.
I grew up playing men's until I was about 12, and then that's when the size difference really was like, okay, I can't do this anymore, and the speed as well. If you're around the age of 16s, there's like 16U, but if you're really, really good and you're younger, you'll play up if you can keep up with that level of speed and physicality.
I think it just all came down in the beginning. Hockey was a men's sport in the very beginning, and then they were like, oh, women can't take it, or women probably don't want to take it. It all depends on the ref too. Sometimes they do allow aggressive hockey. I remembered back in AAA, I would play in Minnesota, and they allowed everything, and it was very different from coming from Colorado, and they don't allow anything.
I would say there are definitely times I wish I could be more physically aggressive, especially in some heated games. Like, you really just want to go out and wreck someone. I think sometimes in the men's game, they're afforded a little bit more in terms of that retaliation and protection for their teammates because they're allowed to hit, which is something that I would find very interesting and helpful to bring into the women's game. But overall, I don't think that anything lacks from our games or our experiences because we can't just go send someone flying mid-ice.
If women are playing against women, I don't see why we wouldn't be allowed to check and have the same rules as men's does. It doesn't make sense to me. For co-ed, yeah, 100%, but not for women against women.
I would say the biggest question I get as a female hockey player kind of falls into two realms. The first one is always, oh, you mean field hockey? Like, that's what you play? And I'm always like, no, it's ice hockey.
If I play field hockey, and then when I say ice hockey, they're like, oh, women's ice hockey? That's a thing?
And then kind of along those same lines, when I'm with my teammates and we're all in our off-ice gear and we're going somewhere and it's like whatever, we get a lot of comments like, oh, you girls are too pretty to be playing hockey, or you girls are so nice and sweet. Like, I can't believe you're hockey players. Like, you're so gorgeous. How could you guys be ice hockey players? Which is always lovely to receive from strangers as they insert themselves into your life.
Making up for playing a men's sport and having them be like, oh, you're a woman. Are you on the men's team? It's like, no, I'm on my own women's team. How do I get school involved, have a job at the same time, and play hockey and still have good in grades, and especially as a college student too. And we know when our games are in the very beginning, we know when our practices are. That tells me that school needs to be done before hockey practice or games or anything like that.
Honestly, if I could say something to my younger self that was learning to play hockey,
don't give up. I did give up, and I went to a different sport, dance, and it set me back really bad. I had to do 5 different camps over one summer to get me back to other people. And I mean, I probably would have gone D1. As much as I love CU and ACHA, I would have probably been a total different person if I didn't quit.
If I knew everything I know now, I would just tell her to enjoy it because it goes by so quick. And especially being a senior, like, I have loved the game for as long as I've played it, and I still do, and I'll continue to love it and be a part of it in every way that I can. But I think especially when you're growing up and when it's just so much for fun and you're just learning and having a blast and you're doing it because you love it, which I still do, but you get so many other things added on to it over time that I would just tell her to enjoy it all over again.
It gets better. Playing with men growing up, it wasn't great because when you play with boys growing up, you get kind of treated as like an outcast. You don't really get passed to. They go easier against you. And it's the same now in beer league. When we play against the guys teams here, they never go 100%, which I get. But there were so many times that I wanted to quit growing up when I played in Maine because we didn't have a women's team until I moved to California, and I met some of my best friends, and that was probably the only reason that I continued to play, is that I realized how fun it can be when you're playing with your best friends. So
I would say that my greatest hockey achievement has been winning our WWCHL championship back-to-back with my team. We were lucky enough to be best in the West for 3 years of my college career, which was a really, really big high for me because I got to do it with all of my teammates, and it's just such a rush to win the championship like that. And I guess on a personal note, I would say the biggest personal achievement I've had was this year when my girls named me a captain of my team because I really valued that, and I really felt like it was a really big sign from the girls of how much they trust me and respect me, and kind of getting that reinforcement from my teammates that I love so much was really, really special to me.
My greatest hockey achievement is probably winning national championships with the Junior Sharks in high school, and then going back again to the national championships and getting runners up with that same team.
I improved with myself through the college years, and I played forward only junior and senior year, and I thought I was like better than ever in the past 15 years.
I would say maybe my ability to see the ice and kind of react to what's happening around me. It's way harder than you think when you have girls coming at you super fast. Heads up hockey is a huge thing, and I feel like I really struggled with that growing up, is picking my head up and being able to see the ice and where my team is, and I feel like that's something that I really was able to develop here at CU, and definitely one of my strengths this season.
As a female athlete, I would say I love female sports. I think a lot of them are so fun to watch and have a lot of interesting aspects that their male counterparts don't. I think it's hard, and I think it's hard especially with where women's hockey is at specifically, because I grew up at a time where it was still so small, and it still is very small, and you know everyone, and you know that college is kind of as far as it goes in terms of high level competitiveness. We have a pro league in America, but it's 4 teams and you don't make hardly anything. And I know a couple girls that are playing in that league, and I think it's so admirable of them because they're continuing to play the sport that they love. But as a female athlete growing up, you're not going to make your life living off of hockey. And so I think that changes a little bit how you think about it and how you go through it. But I think it's kind of an interesting and unfortunate reality for a lot of female athletes that eventually it's going to end, which is true for every athlete. But I think female athletes have to deal with that a lot sooner.
We don't get a lot of recognition that men's sports do. But you can even see it in the difference in crowds, like versus the guys' games and versus our games. Like, there's no comparison to that, which I understand. Like, it's fun to watch guys hit each other and stuff. Some things you just can't change. Like, men are bigger, faster, stronger, whatever. But I don't think that they deserve better pay, better resources. I don't know. I'm kind of glad that hasn't stopped any female athletes from competing. Like, they're still doing what they love.
The biggest advice I have for young people getting into sports is to make sure that it's a sport that they love and that they want to invest time in. But the more that you love your sport, the more that you're going to buy in, and that is going to help your entire team, and it's going to show. And so it's going to make the entire experience on every level better.
Being on sports teams probably made me the person that I am today. You learn leadership, you learn how to work as a team, you meet your best friends, you're active, you're staying healthy. I guess my advice would be, and especially to younger women in hockey, is you're gonna grow up in a male-dominated sport. You're gonna grow up playing with male players, teammates, male coaches, and you're going to get treated differently, and it's going to kind of suck. But once you get past that, it is the best thing in the world. You meet so many amazing people, and regardless of how you get treated growing up, you develop so much with the different coaches, the different camps, and just take every opportunity you can to put yourself out there, get better, advance in the sport if you love it, and just don't give up, and importantly, have fun.
Don't take a granted of your practices and your games. You never know when it's going to be your last one.
We've definitely had some bumpy roads at CU, but But we finished off on a really, really great year with a really great group of girls, amazing coaches, amazing experiences, and it's been really great.
Hey, welcome to our club.
Crib.
It's club.
Crib.
Welcome to our crib.
Um,
We got our win wall,
Yep.
which
This is an old one.
starts from 2017 but goes all the way to this year. We got these amazing signs that Emily has created, and they have our number, name, obviously their logo, and the Flatiron.
Sometimes it has your nickname instead of your name if we like literally never call you by your name.
You can't really see her, but that's the thing.
Hi, I'm Zaya Sachs,
She was so good in
and
the
welcome
airport too.
to the CU women's hockey team.
I know, it's her and mine.